beautiful day to be walking in the woods. Come join us. We're off to harvest some nettles. This is one of my favorite plants, you know. When the springtime comes, I just get inspired to get out there and have young, tonic, fresh plants in my diet. And nettles are one of the most important pieces of that. They're probably the most nutrient-dense plant there is in this part of the world. So come join us. We're gonna go hunting for some wild nettles. Usually we like about 6 inches to a foot tall, and this is when we want to harvest them. Now, I really like to just take these first tops. When I first come out to a nettle patch, grab that top, roll it around in the tips of my fingers, and pop that little sucker in my mouth. Take a few minutes, and just connect with the nettle energy. Wow. The next thing I like to do is make sure I get some urtication. Now, these nettles have all kinds of stingers on them. They have something called formic acid, which creates a histamine type response when we rub it against the soft parts of our skin. This will bubble up a little bit and get a little red. It only lasts for like a couple hours, maybe a day at the most, but getting that sting helps to move congestion and stagnation out of the body. So we use that for things like carpal tunnel, arthritis, rheumatism, all these kinds of things. In fact, sometimes people used to do is they take the nettles and make big long pieces of them and whip the backsides of their kidneys in order to get the adrenals flowing and get the energy flowing and build that up and move out stagnation. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it on one gloved hand. So I don't wanna get my whole hand stingy. This is gonna be my grabbing hand. I'm just gonna go along with a pair of scissors and take the top 4 to 6 inches. Now, if you see here where I've picked that, this will grow out of this right at the stems here. They'll grow back out and will produce more nettles throughout the year. So before we go further, I wanted to make sure that you have the right plant when you're picking nettles. They have these opposite leaves. They have a triangle type leaf with points. And if you're really not sure about it, they have these little hairs on here with that formic acid that are stingers that are gonna, if you brush them against the backside of your skin, you'll know, whoa, that's stinging nettle. I think of nettles as one of the most important spring foods there is. This is a spring tonic. It's also considered a superfood in the sense of the word of superfood being the most nutrient-dense foods that we have. So this has a lot of vitamins and minerals. It's full B complex, as well as a whole list of different nutrients in it. Now, in order to get that out of it, we gotta cook these down, and we can do that by lightly steaming them or putting them into like a spanakopita, or tonight we're gonna make what's called tortilla pie, where we layer tortillas and beans and cheese and add nettles into that. One of my favorites. Now we also wanna make sure we know where they grow so we can come find them anytime. They like wet feet, as you can see by this little marshy wet area here. And they also like really rich nitrogenous soil or nitrogen dense soil. So behind the backsides of outhouses, on the backsides of barns, where there's been horse manure, or in a case like this, near lowlands. We're about 100 meters up from the ocean and near where the waters come back in. So they like to have wet feet, so to speak. Now there are many places on the West Coast where there's little secret coves of nettles. So search around your town, look on those farmlands, just in the lowland areas near water, and you'll probably find yourself an awesome patch of nettles. I know this one is right in the heart of town almost. In fact, I think a lot of people walk by these nettles and have no idea that this is probably the most nourishing, most nutrient-dense food there is. Better than anything in their grocery store. And a lot of people don't eat them. Now this whole plant can be used as medicine. Not just the leaves, but also the flowers when they're in season, the seeds when they're in season, and the root. The roots are basically known to help increase and free up testosterone. So they're used for things like male pattern baldness or prostate inflammation, often combined with things like pygeum and saw palmetto. But the roots also have shown to be just good for increasing vigor and vitality in the body, especially libido and sexual drive. The leaves of the nettle are often used as a tea or a tincture, and they're great with their diuretic qualities of helping kidney and bladder infections, as well as antihistamine properties, so helping with allergies and any kind of inflammation. We use them, like I was saying, on the skin for urtication for rheumatoid arthritis or carpal tunnel or any kind of inflammatory situation in the tendons, joints, and tissues, as well as they've got some great properties for helping with that asthma and relaxing the bronchial cavities. The flowers and the seeds, when they're in season, they're really good as what's called a tropo-restorative for the kidneys. Now this means to restore atrophy and helpful for adrenal fatigue, building up the body and strengthening it to a core level of vitality. One thing I think that is really cool about nettles is these strong fibers that are in their stems and stalks. Now these were originally made into fisher nets, hence the word net comes from the word nettle. Now this is also used for making clothing and hats and all kinds of things. In fact, if we got a little more industrious in our world, we might be able to make all kinds of paper and different types of fiber materials out of nettles. Nettles divide by root division as well as propagate by seed. So if you trim the tops of the nettles, you're only just taking away the tops and they'll regrow and divide by root division. So you can actually strengthen a patch of nettles by just trimming the tops of them and having them regrow up by root division. There's something about nettles that always make me happy when I harvest them. And I've been trying to wrap my head around why do I get so excited and enjoy harvesting these nettles? And I think it's maybe just because I'm coming out of those winter blues and into this time of regeneration. And so the nettles help bring that. And I think that's really what they are. They're a master plant, one of these spiritual guide plants, bringing up that deep, dark nutrient into a vibrant and abundant source of energy. I love that about nettles. It's probably my favorite thing, is just getting out and being with them and hanging out with them in the forest. So thank you, nettles. I'm super happy to be connecting with you today, and I look forward to eating you for dinner.